Northern Illinois, worth working and fighting for. Full of serene beauty and promise is the sky over the good, productive earth. No bright bunting flies in the summer air. No bands are playing. Yet here, free men, women, and their children are working from sun to sun, working against shortages in many of their essentials, but working with a grim, resolute courage and typical American ingenuity to make out with what they have, to win a total war, to bring victory and peace to a troubled world.
It's a beautiful day in northern Illinois. Well, here's a typical Illinois farmer, one of the men our armed forces and we at home depend upon for food. And boy, oh boy, is he busy. His machinery's scarce, his gasoline is rationed, the tires on his truck are wearing down. His hired man's working in a defense plant. His son is on a fighting front 2,000 miles away. Well, it's time for chores. It's always time for something these days when armies and fleets demand that every American farm produce to its utmost. So, let's look around and see what's going on. Of vital importance is the rising production of milk from herds like this in northern Illinois. Ayrshire, Jersey, Holstein, Brown Swiss, and Guernsey. Go get 'em, Toby. We're on the Wild Rose Farm near St. Charles. Let's stop right here for a minute and watch farm manager Roy Sharp's dog bring in the cows. While Roy goes ahead with his chores, Toby brings them up from a mile away. Toby's a border collie with plenty of sense. Notice the slow, easy way he brings them in. This electric doorway sprayer saves a lot of time. It disinfects and rids the herd of pests as they enter the barn. Here's a little tip for you. Bothered by flies in your barn? Color the windows blue and presto, no flies. They don't like the blue light. Try it and see. Let's drop in here and see if we can learn something. Here's Doug Knight with Ben Eade, his former high school ag teacher from Sandwich. Ben has helped him develop one of the state's best Holstein herds. Doug grinds feed, as does E.H. Ellingson, out Poplar Grove way, by machinery. Here's the before and after. Back at Knight's again. Mrs. Knight and her daughter Eleanor feed the calves while Doug Jr. demonstrates a really effective home-built sprayer. It completely sprays the barn, kills all the flies. Doug helps control mastitis by carefully washing the udders before milking. He washes and milks 2 cows at a time so that the milk does not start prematurely. Doug dips the teats in chlorine water after milking as an extra precaution against the spread of mastitis. Miriam McCormick, tester for the Dairy Herd Improvement Association, takes care of testing for 24 herds in LaSalle County, recommends proper feeding, and gives advice on control of dairy diseases. By weighing and taking a sample of the milk from each cow, the farmer has an exact record of what his herd is producing. Miss McCormick, by the way, has taken the place of a man who's gone off to war. Milk is cooled in this combination cooler strainer to a temperature of 55 degrees. By keeping his milk in this walk-in cooler, he holds the temperature down around 36 degrees. low enough to keep down bacteria content. On the Marvin Erickson farm near Kankakee is a milk stirrer designed by the electric company. A 1/4 horsepower motor does the job. Shows what you can do with a little ingenuity. Looks easy this way, doesn't it? But here's another chore familiar to every dairy farmer. When it comes to washing milking equipment, as Laura Frizee over near Palatine can tell you, there's nothing like a good automatic supply of hot water. It doesn't take long when you're set up to do it right. And when you get through, you know your milker and all the equipment is really clean, ready for use the next time. At Streeter, Leo Faust and one hired man handle 65 cows, and that takes plenty of practical know-how and planning. Leo's devised a lot of work savers. Among them is this manure hoist operated by a 1/4 horsepower electric motor. The whole thing was designed and built right here. It used to take 2 men just to spray this herd the old-fashioned way, but Leo does the job alone now, and incidentally uses only 5 gallons of spray where it used to take 30 gallons every 3 months. Some spray, How do you like it? Leo uses the same type combination milk cooler and strainer that Doug Knight does. Milk is brought down to about 40 degrees in this cooler strainer. He gets his low temperature by pumping cold water from cooler tank to cooler strainer. Our dairy story wouldn't be complete without the head man, or I should say the head men. This exerciser works off excess energy for bulls of the Illinois Holstein Breeding Association at Dundee. How do northern Illinois farms meet the challenge of rising wartime quotas in beef? Well, they meet it with famous sires like Mercury, a white shorthorn bull on the Ed Ellen farm, with fine Black Angus cattle like these on the Red Top farm, with white-faced Herefords at Percy Meredith's farm near Maple Park. Here's the Hereford bull, Angus bull, shorthorn bull, and a whole herd of good shorthorns. One answer to a steady supply of fresh water for the stock. The Fry brothers of Capron salvaged a mercury switch from an old oil burner, and it really works as an automatic control for the stock tank. The brothers use a 1 horsepower motor to grind feed direct into a truck bed. They grind for 300 head of feeders. Minerals and proteins are sprinkled over it. The truck is driven to the feed bunks and the load shoveled in. As simple as that, and it doesn't tie up a tractor either. Remember Toby, the dog you saw bringing in the cows? Well, here's his famous mother, Rosie. It's a pleasure to watch her work. Uh-oh. Don't forget that one way back there, Rosie. Atta girl. No matter how careful you are when you're raising sheep, Bill Sproat says you always get a little back talk from Mother. Hey, what you doing to my baby? Oh, it's all right. She'll be well taken care of. It's cozy and warm in there under that electric brooder. Mary had a little lamb, and the result is a picture nice enough to warm anybody's heart. This isn't Mary, but it's Louise Jane Biddlecombe, Cute, aren't they? Harry Fisher and his father built this lambing house. There are 10 lamb pens in there. It was one of Harry's projects worked out like this lamb brooder with Donald Hanson, the vocational ag teacher at Aledo High School. They've used a wash basin for a reflector, wool sacking for the curtain. Mr. Hanson and Harry examined one of Harry's prize-winning lambs, 4-footed proof of the value of his homemade brooder. The modern sheepman uses electric clippers, but even so, shearing a sheep is a real art. Watch Joe Majira do his stuff. F.M. Parkinson, the vocational ag teacher over at Lena, has helped his students build several hundred pig brooders for the farmers in the neighborhood. These students are Dwayne Altenburn, Norman Wagner, and Dwight Ferringer. Mrs. N.F. McNaught uses about 40 of these brooders on her farm near West Chicago. A thermostat controls the temperature. How's this for a really well-equipped hog house? One of the men is feeding the hogs. The pigs are placed here as soon as they can be taken from the community hog house. The hogs will stay out on the range to be finished. Or, when they're 5 months old, they're moved up to the central hog house for the finish of the feeding period. Many farmers are following the McLean system of swine sanitation, colony-type hog houses on clean lots. There are plenty of uses for running water on a hog farm. Concrete feeding floors, periodically flushed down with warm water, mean healthier animals. Get over there. This plan works for many well-known hog raisers. Start creep feeding at 2 weeks with a special type feed. Castrate at 4 weeks. Vaccinate at 6. Laverne Scheibel and Bob Ferricks are learning how from their ag instructor, Lee Klein of Stillman Valley. With this plan, you wean them at 8 weeks, worm them, and dip them in lime sulfur no later than 10 weeks. Laura Nelson, FFA and 4-H member of Varna, farrowed 25 pigs in 2 litters, and thanks to the brooder he made himself, sent all 25 to market. One 14-pig litter weighed 3,135 pounds at 180 days, and topped all Illinois 4-H pig clubbers who made the wartime ton of pork gold. You might be interested in the feed of this champion litter. $12,000 chickens a year are raised and dressed over near Streeter by Marion Snyder. And since he runs his business with only one man to help him, he too depends largely upon electrical equipment. Here's how he does it. A 2-horsepower motor grinds his feed, and this 1 horsepower does the mixing. Power works for the poultryman all right. He uses the immersion type water warmer to heat water for his chickens. Mr. Snyder says hens kept in this well-lighted straw loft hen house lay from 1 to 2 dozen more eggs apiece during the winter months. That's a homemade brooder with a commercially built electric heating unit. If you've ever hand-picked a chicken, you'll get a kick out of this picker used by the Kankakee Poultry Company. 4 times as fast as an expert can do it by hand. Oh, don't forget those last 2 feathers. Attaboy. Here's a good gadget. This alarm clock was adapted to the job of turning on the lights by Ralph Nater under the direction of Emery Holt, his ag teacher at Peatone High School. Ralph attributes much of his outstanding production record to his homemade automatic lighting system. It's simple and it works. He too uses an immersion water warmer. Ralph made his own brooder, and last year raised 400 broilers under it. By the way, notice the eggs. Ralph believes in keeping records. John Hoekstra, who operates a truck farm near Richard, has been using irrigation since 1935. He reports unusually good success. And here are the two 5-horsepower motors that irrigate this 20-acre field of muskmelons with 200 gallons a minute. Oh yes, something to remember if you're going in for open ditch irrigation. A barrel placed like this will keep the water from washing away the soil. If you want to get cabbages to market, you can save a lot of labor and time like the Hoekstras do by hitching up a 1/2-horsepower motor to a home-built conveyor. There are a lot of uses for a conveyor around the farm, and here it loads cabbages into a truck. Careful there, little fella. You'd better give that one to Big Brother. Whoops! Don't drop it. Okay, he made it. To illustrate another type irrigation, Harold Hungerford of Moments has had excellent results from this sprinkler type irrigation. This 3-horsepower motor saves time, speeds up work for Peter Bauman out in West Chicago. A twist of the wrist, and there she goes. That handy wagon chute is another idea of Mr. Bauman's. Ideas become tools in well-equipped farm workshops like Harold Middlecop's. There's Harold with his father. Just to show you what can be done, the blower on this forge came from an old oil burner, and 1/4 horsepower motor drives it. C.H. Bunker near La Fox made this seed inoculator out of a 60-gallon drum, an old separator gear reduction, a cast-off churn wheel, a vacuum cleaner switch, and a homemade wooden pulley. You want to see it work? A small amount of water is added to the seed to make the inoculant stick. Then the inoculant goes in, and we're ready to go. Not only is this easier, but it does a far more thorough job of inoculating each seed. This old sacking device has been in use in this family for better than a half a century. Think of that. Ben Wenlin and his father-in-law feed approximately 50,000 bushels of grain a year. They buy the grain from nearby farmers and haul this portable elevator to load from the farmer's crib to the truck. There's some difference between lifting a scoop of corn over into the little hopper and pitching it away up 8 feet into the truck. Look how effortlessly this 1/2-horsepower motor does the job. Here's another kind of conveyor on the Francis Burke farm. Oats are elevated by using a 3-horsepower motor on a portable truck. Leonard Selmeyer of Sonneman took a discarded differential for the speed reduction of his 3-horsepower job. He just flips the switch and the grain elevator does the rest. Well, it just goes to show you. Paul Porter's made a unique arrangement for grinding his feed. This 1-horsepower motor operates the mill. Feed is delivered from the loft and comes down the chute, through the grinder and into the dust-tight bin, ready for stacking. With this installation, the barn stays clean, And in 1 year, Paul and son Rex ground 3,500 bushels of feed. Jerome Selmeyer and his brother James, both well-known 4-H clubbers, are fanning oats with a 1/4 horsepower motor. You see that wooden pulley? Their dad turned it out on a lathe in his workshop. The motor is portable, and Jimmy shells corn with it, too. It's surprising what you can do with one of these portables. This one belongs to Harold Anderson near Batavia, and it mixes concrete fast enough to keep a 4-man crew busy. A feeding platform is well worth the trouble. It is easy to keep clean and makes for better feeding conditions all the way around. Over near Wadsworth, another farmer painted his new barn and buildings with this motor-driven compressor. On buildings or farm machinery, it's a mighty handy little gadget. Isn't that a nice-looking compressor he's got there? And speaking of handy gadgets, back again at the Middle Copse near Mount Morris, Harold uses a special carriage to speed up the sharpening of his cutter barn. And incidentally, that's good light for after dark work. Illinois youth is battling shortages at home and in schools. They meet man-sized problems with real Northern Illinois ingenuity. An electric company man is demonstrating to Harold Hungerford's Moments Ag class how to make a small motor portable by using a broomstick, a couple of pieces of wood, and the handle from an old flat iron. It has any number of uses. Here you see the grinder putting a sharp edge on the coal chisel. Farm shop classes in Moments build a combination chicken feeder and water warmer. Mr. Hungerford uses a porcelain socket. The water container is placed over the light, and the apron keeps the water from dripping down into the feeder. The roller on the top discourages roosting. Here's the Phelps home near Plainfield, a good example of one farm family in wartime. Norma's doing her bit as a war nurse. Isn't that a colorful mantle? Over here is Brother John, off somewhere in a combat area. Mary's her own dress designer, which, along with her other achievements, won her the distinction of being the outstanding 4-H girl in Illinois. Her mother, Mrs. Howard Phelps, has been a leader in 4-H club work for years. Sister Nancy plans to carry on. And of course, while the women are busy with their jobs, the men, father and son Bill, are out in the field producing food for freedom. How's that for an all-American smile? Mary Frances Selmeyer is at work on her 4-H project. This sewing machine is a big help in her club work. Virgil Smith of Oswego, a 4-H club winner for the past few years, is seen with a prize-winning cow and the plaque given him by the Holstein Breeders' Association. Virgil has won several scholarships and a lot of ribbons for his outstanding work. In the Gom Farm home near Streeter, Marilyn shows her brother John and sister Norma some interesting information in the National 4-H Club News. They're getting some ideas to help them out in their project. This scene was taken at the McHenry County 4-H Club Achievement Show. Hello, Joe. What do you know? Not much. Wilbur Goki, Secretary of the Illinois Holstein Breeders Association, judges the dairy entries. It's amazing how much some people can make out of so little. The Middlecoffs took $5 worth of bricks salvaged from a filling station and built this tile shower stall. That's Patricia and Jane in the shower, waiting for Mother to hand them a towel. Both hot and cold running water are pumped through the automatic electric heater to all parts of the farm. Everybody's busier nowadays than they ever were, but woman's work has much of the drudgery taken out. Except for occasional outdoor chores during the manpower shortage, life with a modern farm woman is no different from any other active woman. There's Mrs. Middlecoff Sr. on the trees unit. More and more food is being processed this way all the time. It's the way we'd all like to do it. Oh boy, look at all those points. Canning food is about the same, but a good pressure cooker and Laura Feisty gives us a really pretty exhibition of a very old art. Another way to preserve wartime food is by dehydration. Spread shelled fresh peas on the tray, and we'll put in a tray of carrots too. Start the motor. Close the door, and let the warm air circulate through the dehydrator, and they're ready. Take them out, and they look like this. Here's the peas, spinach, and carrots. You can dehydrate in an oven, too. Another colorful, attractive kitchen with good light and plenty of practical modern conveniences at the Max Summers near Belvedere. I hope that's me she's tuning in. I need my listeners. It'd be a pleasure to sit down at a pretty table like that. Now, wouldn't it? No two ways about it. Good light and power can speed up a woman's busy hours and take out a lot of the backache, too. There's no reason, is there, why Patsy Middlecoff should look like a movie starlet? You can do a lot of important things better, even to coloring picture books under a swing arm lamp. Meet little Tommy Bricker of Geneva. Lessons and reading for any purpose come easier under a properly designed bridge lamp, like the one Mrs. Ed Bricker and daughter Roberta are enjoying. More Brickers. Louise, Loretta, and Marianne studying under an IES student lamp. Doesn't Grandmother Doyle look attractive and comfortable? Look at what they're building in these high school farm shops. These handy gadgets are finding a wide use in Illinois. Mr. Hungerford presents a review of some of the labor savers that the farm boys in his classes have built.
Useful services are performed by all of these home conveniences. They make farm life easier. They deserve exceptionally good care these days. As you know, it's hard to replace them, but a lot of them can be repaired in your own workshop without using critical materials. You somehow know, as you look across the clean, productive fields of northern Illinois, that these people are meeting their wartime problems. That this harvest brings not only food for freedom, but to our fighting sons and daughters, this is what they are fighting for, the land where the folks live. It is what we feel when we say, this is home. And once again, as in our earliest struggles for independence, American farmers are swinging the balance in our favor. By the rude bridge that arts the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world.